Hey, what's up? My name is Will. I'm a programmer, coder, what have you, systems builder, just like creating things. Anyways, I decided to move off of Rackspace. Made this decision like 3 years ago, basically because my systems were getting too old. I had systems from like the 2000s, LAMP systems. I don't know if you ever heard that term, but it's just basically is when you have Linux, Apache, Microsoft, and PHP. I had to look it up. I forgot. Some people refer to it as WAMP too, but that's Linux, Apache, and then MySQL and PHP. Basically, MySQL is the database. PHP is the language, programming language that I use. That was the first language that I used outside of HTML to actually do things, something that's dynamic, something that can, change and manipulate the HTML page. But anyway, that's what our systems were running off of, and this was just like maybe, yeah, this is 4 years ago. So the infrastructure was old, outdated. Plus, like a lot of our servers, they had like CentOS 5 and 6 on it, and Rackspace stopped supporting those for good reason. There's security issues and stuff with older CentOS distributions. I think we had Red Hat distribution on a lot of those servers. So that had to go, but there was like custom code that I had created, and it was dependent on that Linux stuff being in those versions, different versionings and stuff. It was just really deeply integrated into the Linux setup with CentOS 5 and 6. And so then on top of that, what was it? Price hikes. I think Rackspace had sent us an email. It was like servers are gonna go up by 20%. And this was like years ago. So I was like, dang. And we spend almost $1,000 on servers, just servers every month. And then what else was it? The most recent blow was the cloud files situation, where they were going to double our prices basically in a month's notice. So that's why I decided that we need to just go ahead and just get up out this thing. Yeah, this is also something else I want to talk about. So yeah, so we just wanted more control. We definitely wanted more control, and we also, yeah, that's another thing. And looking at some of how some of the bigger companies do their tech infrastructure, we wanted more portability and stuff. And I know if y'all have heard of Kubernetes, but we don't use Kubernetes. I use another system. It's basically where you're just more flexible. It's kind of like how the phone went from a rotary phone, a landline, to a mobile phone, more mobile, and you can do the same stuff while being on the move. Well, it's the same thing with portability. So now we don't have to worry about systems failing because of their dependence on infrastructure that's going to eventually be outdated, right? You see what I'm saying? So this is just forward thinking, things to think about in the future. We want that control. It's the control that enables us to focus our expertise on other stuff, and make the business grow. So that way, if who we're with now decides to raise our prices, we don't care. We just go somewhere else. Now, my personal experience from working with Rackspace, it's been fine. Besides the price hikes, until recently, like customer service used to be amazing with Rackspace. They're answering my questions just like that. I mean, it was great. It was great, especially compared to HostGator, which is what I used to use. But then eventually, they started raising prices, and whatever happened internally, they just weren't able to keep up with what other companies were doing with hosting. And so it caught up with them. So they charged us this $50 fee every month. What was the thing? I think it was called like a management service, a manager fee or whatever. It's something that we didn't need because I was always the one that was diagnosing problems and being able to troubleshoot and fix everything myself. Anyway, they got that going, and then when I reached out to them about the recent cloud stuff that they were trying to do, they're trying to encourage everybody to upgrade to their new cloud infrastructure and not just stay on the OpenStack. They said they're going to double our prices in 100% in less than 30 days, and that's just crazy. Why would you do that? I mean, I can't imagine what it would be for $1 billion. We're not $1 billion business, but we have generated millions of dollars, and it's like this is not what we need. You know what I'm saying? To continue doing our operations, we don't like that kind of a shock. You know. So that really did a damage to how we feel about Rackspace. So it was time to move on. Basically, that's just it. I make sure I'm covering everything else, y'all, because I've been sipping a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. I've been sipping because everything's good right now. But yeah, obviously something has happened because Rackspace stock prices have dropped from like uh what 30? I think it was at 30 all the way down to like 50 cents. So that's telling right there, and it happened over a few years. So all that makes sense. So this step-by-step migration process, basically, I decided to move our servers first, and then after that, we did our cloud files. Now, moving the servers took a couple of years because I had to basically reinvent the way information was moving. So, and just replaced the entire backbone of our system. So that's what I did. I did our servers first, moved each part of our business off of Rackspace to our new service provider one at a time. And that took years. That took 2 years. I was up in this house, just doing it, just making it happen. And I had to learn a lot of stuff along the way, but it was a it had a lot of trials, a lot of errors, a lot of fires to put out. But at the end of the day, I'm glad I went through it because it's just like going to school and going to college, except I'm not in the classroom. I'm actually doing it live. I'm doing it, and it's critical because it has to work, and it has to still work because this is a operating business. This is a live operating business. And my wife can say, I've been sitting right here at this table like for months, working on this. So yeah, that was phase one, a couple years, and then phase two was the cloud files part, which only took a couple weeks because I was familiar with the new service provider I went with, and basically it's just moving files, it's copying files. But the fires that I did run into had to do with headers and stuff, and making sure that all those properties are copied over from Rackspace to our new service provider, which does not have built-in header management, and they don't have built-in CDN. So we had to account for those things. I actually had to go with a CDN service separate from cloud files, separate from our cloud files, because Rackspace would incorporate that in with their service automatically. So that was a learning curve. But at the end of the day, it still allows more flexibility. So I can separate that out from stuff I don't need header management on, to things I do need it on. And it's different, but it's helpful at the same time considering the growth of our business. Now, phase three was the changing the DNS because we still had DNS with Rackspace. Rackspace offered the free DNS with their services as long as you had another service with them. But for moving servers off and cloud files off, we needed to move DNS off so we can just remove our credit card from Rackspace and keep it moving before they find another reason, like starting to charge for DNS. I hope they don't do that. And if they do it, oh well, because we'll be high, flying, and gone. Like, really, businesses. Anytime you're trying to appease the stockholders over the customers, that's when stuff starts to go wrong. All right, so now some of the challenges. I got a little outline that I made. I'm trying to make sure I hit all my points. The challenges during my migration, okay? This was planning around the downtime, but we didn't actually have any downtime. I created my system in a way, and I was careful enough that when I made updates to the live site, which was actually running off of, everything was running off of one big, huge server at once. And when I started pulling pieces out, I made sure those pieces were working first. I set up a test site first, and then I made sure that was running fine. And then I just made the switch, and the switch is instantaneous. So that's how I avoid downtime. And also I have, other systems set up that handle downtime just in case something happens to hit the user. The user's not, all shocked and everything. So, it's important if you have a live running business, everything has to be smooth for the audience. Now, I was able to handle large volume and large traffic just because of my experience with it. like dealing with my was it my MySQL, dealing with MySQL and the memory limits that they would have and all the little configurations that you could do with MySQL. I'm familiar with that. I remember in the past they used to crash the database. We had to reboot the system, and that would be downtime right there. Don't have to worry about that anymore. We didn't have to worry about any kind of billing surprises, except when we transferred all those files, when we transferred all the cloud files, the bandwidth went sky high, right? So our final bill ended up being like double what it was the previous month. But then right after that, the bill went down to like $16. And this is down from like 1,000 just a few months ago. So this is a huge win on our expense side, our accounting side of our business. All right, now some of the technical obstacles that we went through. It says, let's see, configuration, dependencies, outdated documentation. Let me think about that. No dependency issues because of our portable system. So that just took all that out. Man, technology is nice when it moves forward and you actually implement it. And then you're actually understanding, hey, they actually solved this huge problem. Like I remember going through a whole bunch of configuration issues with PHP, like even moving to PHP 7. I don't know if some of you guys are familiar, but I had like PHP 5.3, I think it was for a minute, or 5.6, and then going to PHP 7. Forget PHP 8. That's not happening. Like it was just complete craziness. But basically, it's just my dog is over there growling. He's like, "What you talking about?" It's just chaos. Like if you're not technical, just think of it as this. You got to have a bunch of systems that speak the same language. They all need to speak English. But if you have something speaking Chinese, you have something speaking, Russian, or even dialect issues with Australian versus, ahoy mate to London, to people here in the U.S. Picture systems communicating with those challenges. That's what our system, the system that I built, is avoiding right now because of this portable, this architecture that I'm really happy about, y'all. It's like it's working, like it's just amazing. All right, so here's the fun part. I'm about to get into the fun part. Now, this is why I chose the service provider Linode. And I am not sponsored by them, but I did decide to drop a referral link down below where you can go ahead and grab them, right? You can grab them and get a discount, all right? I figure I need to go ahead and do that if I really am going to be promoting Linode just by saying I chose Linode. But there's one thing I don't like. I don't like that Makami bought them. I don't like that. They ended up buying them maybe a year after we decided to go with moving our servers to them, because I understand how the business process works. A company goes in, they buy another valuable business that is undervalued, and they'd be like, okay, we can just buy them and just raise the prices because they're cheap. They give them the same service. We buy them, we'll just raise the prices. Everybody will still pay for it. If we lose 10% of our business but raise our prices by 20%, well, we don't made a profit. So that's what happened. But at the end of the day, it's still cheaper for us because of how we did our architecture. Plus, we're on a more modern platform with Linode, and it's simple. It's pretty straightforward. Like from a guy like me that's fluent in tech and experiencing this stuff, it really simplifies the entire process of setting stuff up. And there's no kind of crazy looking interface. It's just straightforward, simple stuff. And that's how I like it, as a builder, as a founder, as a programmer who, loves building apps. So, yeah, and don't forget, y'all can leave me a comment below or ask me a question about anything that you have a question about. If I'm rambling or if there's something that I said that you don't quite understand, just drop a comment. I will respond to as many requests as I can. All right, to get back on track, because I think I got off track. Why I chose Linode was cheaper. Why I chose Linode as far as flexibility is more flexible. It was, I won't say it was more flexible, but it was more granular. I was able to, it was less bloat. So I was able to get to the specific thing, the specific product that I needed in our infrastructure and just work on that. And then just work on that. You see what I'm saying? Like, for example, Rackspace had the CDN built into their cloud file system, but with Linode, it's separate. Now, of course, Akami, they have a CDN system. So I'm wondering if Akami is going to eventually let us be able to use their CDN system. They're going to have some kind of integration involved with that. That's yet to be seen. But I'm happy with how it is right now. It's cloud file storage, and that's all I need. Create a server on the fly, have a backup, a scheduled backup that runs on the fly. Just straightforward, granular, simple setups. That's what Linode has, and that's why I like it. That's why I chose them. All right, some key takeaways, because I know we're getting down to the wire. Just redoing this. Oh, it's what is it? 20? Yeah, it's 2026. My years get mixed up because I actually do this full time. Like, I haven't had a day job since 2009. So I'm just full in on building stuff, creating good customer experiences for businesses that I've started. The first business I started was in 2003. All right. So I've been all in on this. So it's really important that I have a system that works reliably, doesn't break, doesn't rely on a bunch of, or not a bunch, it can rely on a bunch because I spread my risk. But having a system that does not rely on just one party, right? That's super important. Dependency is high risk. All right. Another takeaway from doing this is just the importance of just doing stuff in phases. You don't need to do it all at once, especially if you have a live system. If you have real customers, real people, real traffic that need your service to continue working because they have businesses built upon your business, which is what ours is. It has to work, right? There's no room for error. So understanding in order to do that, sometimes it could take years. If it took 10 years to get to a certain app, and now you have to rebuild it from the very fundamental part of that, then it could take years. So that was a big learning lesson for me because it only took me 3 months to build the first version of my app that was working and usable by our customers. So for this to take 2 to 3 years was a big learning lesson, and I'm glad I was just thankful I'm able to just stick with it. I was trying to press my stop button on my it wasn't working. Another takeaway is that you need to be monitoring prices so you're not just hit on the backside. Like sometimes especially if you're a founder and you do everything, or if you're a solopreneur and you do everything yourself, we can get lost in the marketing and the sales and all that stuff, the other aspects of the business that are like higher level, and forget about the low level, right? But then the low level hits you with something like 100% price hike, and now you're scrambling, trying to get back down to those details that you might have lost over the years because it just worked. It's just something you didn't have to think about it. So that's another learning lesson, is just to always stay in the know of things that could affect your business. So yeah, always monitor pricing and monitor what your third-party services are doing and your vendors. So if I were to give you any advice as a founder, as a solopreneur, just pay attention. That's just basically it. Just pay attention. There's a lot of noise in the world. There's political noise. There's just noise, right? If it doesn't affect your business, just just ignore it. Just pay attention to the things that do, and if there are things that happen, that are out of your control, just react to them, and hopefully you'll build a system that's better equipped and a system that you're more in control of and more adapt to your situation to where you don't have to deal with this again. All right. So as we're wrapping up my drink, go back to my notes. All right. So the key lessons are, right? Number one, make sure your system is solid. Make sure it's portable. Make sure it's flexible. Make sure it's efficient. What we chose was the CAS. Out of the CAS system, we chose consistency and availability. Speed. It was easy because actually, the way our system works is it's just a lot of caching going on. So speed was fine. But we really focused on consistency and availability. CAS means consistency, availability, and speed, and you can only choose to focus on two of those. All right, so you focus on two of those, whichever two is best for your business. And then, the MVP model, which is the MVC model, the model view controller, that's pretty much in the past. So, just understand what the big boys are doing, research, and see if it's just right for your business, basically. Let's see, what else? Looking at my notes. Yeah, I'll probably have like a migration checklist below. If you're migrating from Rackspace to another place, it doesn't have to be Linode, but just if you're migrating your systems off one place to another, I'll have a checklist below at some point. It'll be linked down below, so you can just hit that up. I've seen other people relating to the experience of Rackspace, and some people left years ago, some people haven't left yet, and they're now facing the reality that their expense bill is just going through the roof. I understand. I feel your pain. So hopefully this video and what I've talked about will help you think about things that maybe you haven't thought about, basically, and just get to work. So comment below if you've gone through this, if you've gone through it, if you heard somebody going through this. Just comment below. Let me know what you guys are thinking out there, how you guys are surviving. Hey, it's a founder's life, man. Oh, if there's any kind of scripts, any kind of templates you guys think would help, I have all this stuff saved that I've done over the years. If it could help you guys out, you guys got to let me know. So if you're interested in any one particular area of the migration, then let me know, and that'll tell me what direction I need to go to help you guys. All right, I'm gonna settle down. I'm kind of on the end of this drink. Y'all don't even know what it was. If you want to know what's in the cup, just let me know. I'll tell you that too. All right. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace. Oh, we are done. Woo! We are done, y'all. All right, and by the way, I do consulting, not with this, but I do consulting. I'll put on a suit and tie just for you. All right, just let me know.